What if I told you that some of R&B's most beloved voices, the same ones that once filled arenas and top charts, ended up with nothing but the clothes on their backs? Fame can fade fast, but for these stars, it disappeared overnight. Behind the velvet suits and soulful lyrics were heartbreaking stories of financial ruin, betrayal, and bad luck that left them sleeping on streets they once sang about escaping. From platinum-selling artists to fan favorites who vanished without a trace, these are 15 R&B stars who shockingly became homeless, proof that even the brightest spotlight can burn out in the dark. 15. Chico DeBarge. Chico DeBarge had the voice, the looks, and the fame that made him one of R&B's rising stars in the late 80s. But behind his smooth vocals was a life spinning out of control. Addiction, family tragedy, and run-ins with the law dragged him down a dark path. After several arrests and failed comebacks, Chico reportedly found himself homeless, wandering through the same streets where his songs once played on the radio. His struggles weren't just about money, they were about pain, loss, and survival. Even as he tried to rebuild, life kept knocking him down. Chico's story is a haunting reminder that talent alone can't protect you from your demons. Once a bright light in the famous DeBarge family, he became a symbol of how fast fame can fade when addiction takes over. 14. Raz B. In the early 2000s, Raz B was part of one of the biggest R&B boy bands, B2K. With screaming fans, chart-topping hits, and sold-out tours, he seemed to have it all. But after the group broke up, his life took a painful turn. Struggling with mental health issues and feeling betrayed by the industry, Raz B drifted away from fame. Reports surfaced of him being homeless at times, sleeping wherever he could while battling trauma from his past. The spotlight that once adored him became a distant memory. Even with a few reunion attempts, he couldn't fully find stability again. His story showed the emotional toll of fame, how one moment you're loved by millions, and the next, you're completely alone. Raz B's fall from stardom to survival revealed just how cruel fame can be when the music stops. 13. Jaheim. Jaheim's voice was pure soul, deep, emotional, and unforgettable. Songs like Put That Woman First made him one of the most respected R&B singers of the 2000s. But after the fame faded, his life took a heartbreaking turn. Reports surfaced that Jaheim had fallen on hard times, facing financial struggles and even poor living conditions. He once had chart toppers and award nominations, but the spotlight moved on, leaving him behind. Years later, shocking photos appeared online showing Jaheim looking unrecognizable and struggling to keep things together. Legal troubles and unstable behavior only added to his decline. His story is a sad example of how quickly fame and fortune can slip away, even for artists with incredible talent and loyal fans. Once a rising star with everything going for him, Jaheim ended up fighting just to stay afloat. 12. Fantasia Barrino. Fantasia Barrino's story was supposed to be a dream come true. She went from being a single mother, struggling to make ends meet, to winning American Idol and topping the charts. But after fame hit, financial problems followed fast. Despite her success, Fantasia faced foreclosure and nearly lost her North Carolina home. Poor money management, family disputes, and industry pressure pushed her to the edge. At one point, she admitted to feeling hopeless and exhausted by fame's dark side. Even after becoming a household name, she found herself close to losing everything she worked for. Her journey from superstar to broke reminded everyone that reality TV fame doesn't always mean real success. Fantasia's fall was public and painful, but it also showed her strength when she fought her way back from rock bottom. 11. Casey and JoJo. They gave the world timeless R&B love songs like All My Life and Crazy. But behind the harmony, Casey and JoJo's real lives were anything but smooth. Addiction, lawsuits, and years of erratic behavior slowly tore their careers apart. Once adored as part of Jodeci, they eventually faced serious financial problems, forcing them to live unstable lives. Their public breakdowns and health scares became headlines as fans watched two talented brothers lose control. Reports claimed they struggled to find steady work, and their once glamorous lifestyle crumbled completely. The same men who sang about love and devotion were now battling to hold on to their dignity. Casey and JoJo's downfall showed how fame without balance can turn into heartbreak, and how even the biggest stars can lose everything when the music stops playing. 10. Bobby V. Bobby V, once known for hits like Slow Down and Tell Me, had the charm and smooth sound that defined early 2000s R&B. But after label changes and fading publicity, his career hit a wall. He admitted in interviews that money wasn't coming in like before, and at times, he struggled to make ends meet. Without a steady income or strong label backing, Bobby faced a quiet downfall, no tours, no hits, and mounting personal challenges. Rumors swirled about him sleeping in studios and trying to rebuild from scratch. The same voice that once filled clubs and radio stations became a distant memory in the industry. Bobby's story is one of talent overshadowed by time and business mistakes, showing how fame can disappear before you even realize it's gone. 9. Cisco. In the early 2000s, Cisco was everywhere. His flashy silver hair, wild energy, and thong song made him a global star. But after his second album flopped, everything changed. The fame that once brought him endless parties and luxury soon faded into silence. Record label drama and bad financial decisions drained his fortune. Reports suggested that at one point, Cisco struggled to stay afloat, even sleeping in his car while trying to stage a comeback. His story is heartbreaking because he had the kind of success most artists only dream of, yet it vanished faster than it came. Once at the top of the charts, Cisco's reality turned into surviving day by day, chasing a spotlight that had already moved on. Fame gave him the world, but when it was gone, it left him with nothing but memories. 8. Genuine. Genuine was one of the biggest R&B names of the late 90s, with his smooth vocals and unforgettable hit Pony. He lived the dream: fame, money, and fans everywhere. But after years of success, things took a dark turn. He faced mounting debts, family loss, and bad financial choices that left him nearly broke. At one point, he admitted that he was close to losing everything. Behind the smile and stage lights, Genuine was fighting depression and personal heartbreak. His career slowed down, and with it went the security that fame once brought. The man who once symbolized confidence and coolness suddenly found himself struggling to stay relevant and financially stable. His fall from R&B royalty to personal crisis showed how fast the music world can turn its back, even on its brightest stars. 7. T-Pain. T-Pain changed modern R&B and hip-hop forever with his auto-tune sound, creating countless hits and even winning Grammys. But what fans didn't see was how quickly he lost it all. In an interview, he admitted that after earning millions, he ended up with nothing, completely broke. Bad investments, expensive spending, and trusting the wrong people drained his fortune. He once had to borrow money just to feed his family. For someone who had shaped an entire sound, it was a shocking confession. Fame had made him rich, but not wise. And when the money was gone, so were most of the people who once surrounded him. T-Pain's honesty about his fall made him relatable, but also tragic proof that even in success, you can lose everything if you're not careful. 6. Tevin Campbell. Tevin Campbell was a teenage sensation, a voice that could melt hearts, and a future that looked unstoppable. But growing up in the spotlight came with a heavy price. After his early hits like Can We Talk, the fame slowly slipped away. The industry changed, his style fell out of trend, and soon the offers stopped coming. Without a steady income or a strong team behind him, Tevin struggled to adjust to life after fame. Rumors of financial hardship and personal isolation followed him for years. At one point, he admitted to disappearing from the music scene to survive quietly. The boy who once shared stages with Prince and Quincy Jones eventually found himself forgotten by the same world that once adored him. His story is a painful reminder of how quickly child stardom can turn into silence. 5. Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill wasn't just an R&B star, she was a phenomenon. The miseducation of Lauryn Hill made her a global icon, earning Grammys and respect across every genre. But after reaching the peak, she vanished. Behind the scenes, Lauryn was struggling with the pressures of fame, personal battles, and legal troubles. Years later, she faced tax evasion charges that nearly landed her in prison, and reports surfaced of her living a quiet, unstable life away from the spotlight. Once surrounded by luxury, she later spoke of living bare and simple, raising her children outside fame's chaos. Her fall wasn't just financial, it was emotional, spiritual, and deeply human. Lauryn Hill went from world tours to almost nothing, proving that even brilliance can be broken when fame becomes too heavy to carry. 4. Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown had it all: money, fame, and the kind of charisma that defined late 80s R&B. As New Edition's breakout star and a solo sensation, his future seemed limitless. But behind his success came chaos, drugs, arrests, and heartbreak. The death of Whitney Houston only deepened his pain, and years of addiction drained his fortune. Reports claimed he lost nearly everything, even struggling to maintain housing during his darkest periods. The same man who once danced across arenas was now battling demons alone. Bobby's downfall was one of R&B's most public, a painful collapse of talent consumed by tragedy. He spent years trying to rebuild, but the damage had already been done. His story remains one of fame's harshest lessons, that no amount of success can protect you when self-destruction takes over. 3. Faith Evans. Faith Evans rose to fame with a voice that could move souls. She was the first lady of Bad Boy Records, married to the notorious B.I.G., and known for timeless R&B classics. But after his death and years of emotional trauma, Faith's life unraveled. Legal battles, label changes, and financial strain left her career unstable. Reports suggested she faced money troubles and periods of financial uncertainty despite her fame. Her attempts at comebacks were met with mixed results, and the glamorous lifestyle faded away. Faith's story reflects the quiet pain behind the scenes, a woman trying to hold it all together while the world watched her break. She once sang about love and resilience, yet her own journey became a battle for both. The voice that once filled arenas nearly fell silent under the weight of loss and hardship. 2. Teddy Riley. Teddy Riley revolutionized R&B with his New Jack Swing sound. He produced hits for legends like Michael Jackson and Bobby Brown and built an empire around his creativity. But bad investments, lawsuits, and poor management wiped out his fortune. At one point, he reportedly lost his studio and properties, leaving him nearly broke. For a man who once redefined modern R&B, it was a painful reality check. He went from millionaire status to rebuilding from scratch, relying on small projects just to stay afloat. The irony was cruel. The man who created hits for others couldn't escape his own financial downfall. Teddy's story shows that talent doesn't guarantee stability, especially in an industry built on fleeting fame and ruthless contracts. His rise and fall remain one of R&B's most tragic stories of success turned survival. 1. TLC. TLC was unstoppable. Waterfalls, Creep, and No Scrubs made them icons. They sold tens of millions of records and ruled the charts. Yet, at the height of their fame, they were broke. In a shocking twist, the trio filed for bankruptcy in the mid-90 seconds, revealing how unfair contracts and greedy management had drained their earnings. Despite world tours and platinum albums, they were left with barely enough to survive. Fans couldn't believe that one of the best-selling girl groups in history had lost everything. The truth was brutal. The industry took their talent and gave them nothing in return. Even as they smiled on stage, they were fighting to pay bills behind closed doors. TLC's downfall became a wake-up call for every artist, proof that fame means nothing if you don't own your success. These R&B stars had the talent, the hits, and the love of millions, yet when the lights went out, many found themselves completely alone. Their stories remind us that success doesn't always mean stability, and even the brightest stars can lose everything when the music stops. So the next time you hear one of their songs, think about the struggle behind that voice, the pain, the hope, and the fight to survive when fame faded away. Because behind every beat and every lyric, there's a story most fans never knew. Which one of these artists' downfalls shocked you the most? Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because more untold R&B stories are coming your way soon.